Hello everyone, welcome back to AfriNurse International YouTube channel. My name is Linda, your host, and it's nice to see you again. Today I'll be talking about how to prepare for the NCLEX as a Nigerian nurse, like what you need. This is gonna be the first of several series because it's a long video and I don't want to do everything at once because then you're gonna get bored. So I'm gonna like cut these videos into like short segments so that you can like listen to it, and we're gonna talk more. We're gonna get really invested into each point. So preparing for the NCLEX as an internationally trained nurse, especially as an African nurse, it's very important for you to know some really good points that you have to focus on. There are so many NCLEX preparation resources out there, and it's really difficult, sorting through all of them and trying to find the best one that's good for you. So my plan, my hope is that I can help you streamline and get the best resources that you need. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So first, first I want to find out, has everybody submitted the application for Nova Scotia or Alberta, like whichever one? And I knew some people had some problem with the applications, like making payments. If you're still struggling to make payments up to now, you can get in touch with us and we can make payments for you. And then, of course, you can, transfer the Naira version to our account in Nigeria. But then we make the payment for you here in the Canadian dollars directly to the Nova Scotia College of Nursing. But yeah, so I just want to make sure that everybody is, has submitted the application, because my goal is to, take you through the process, right? Like I waited, I told you about this opportunity, and we talked about how to prepare for your application, how to make it right, what you need to do. And now I'm hoping that now that the application has been open for almost a month now, I'm hoping that everybody has submitted the application, and now you're waiting for further direction for your, going about your verification and your police report. So if you're still having any problem, please just get in touch with us. And if you don't know anything about this opportunity, if this is your first time watching our video, then you need to check out our other videos and see what's out there for you. There's a lot of opportunities right now for Canada, in Canada for Nigerian nurses, and you need to take advantage of this opportunity because this might not happen again. All right, so one thing I want to share with you today is how I prepared for the NCLEX, okay? I was a nurse trained in Nigeria. I practiced in Nigeria for a few years before moving to Canada. So how I was able to navigate through the process and wrote the NCLEX and pass in one first attempt. And I tell you, it's possible to pass in the first attempt, and you need to have that mindset. So I want to tell you how I prepared. Like I said earlier, there are lots of resources out there. Everybody's telling you, oh, NCLEX preparation, pay this, pay that. So now, before you go about paying lots of money for NCLEX reviews and textbooks and these things and that, you want to watch this video, and I'm going to tell you what I did. Okay, everybody is different, and what works for another person might be different from another person. But I was a nurse trained in Nigeria. What I did, how I prepared for the NCLEX and passed, that's what I want to be sharing with you today. And if you want to follow that same step, and I'm hoping that you will get the same result that I got. I'm not here to sell you anything, so there is really no gain for me here. And I've said this many times over and over again. My major goal of making this video, my major goal of doing everything that I do, is because I want to see more Black nurses in Canada. Okay. And one day I'm going to be, delving deeply into why this is so important to me. One day, but like I said, I'm taking you through the process. and one day we'll get there. And when you make it to Canada, I'm going to also be sharing with you how to succeed as a nurse in Canada, because it's different. You're going to be working in a different setting. I want to set you up for success, because I want you to avoid the mistakes that I made when I first came here, when I started working. I want you to avoid everything. I want to set you up for success. And that's what I'm doing. I've got nothing to gain. I'm not like selling anything here. I'm not selling you anything. Absolutely nothing. So if you're following my channel, you're just following, for what it is, because I'm not here to, take your money or anything. Okay. So let's dive right into it. So before I wrote my NCLEX, so what happened was, like, then it was very different compared to now, because right now you can, apply directly to the um, nursing regulation. So when I did mine, it was similar. This was before the introduction of the NNAS, which I think is a total money grab. Okay, and I hope that the Canadian nursing regulators will just abolish that system and just go directly, into verification and processing applicants applications directly, because that was what happened to me. And the process was faster for me. What took most of the time was, immigration, just like submitting my application, the process, because it takes a long time, weeks for them to, complete your application. But that is immigration. But for the nursing regulatory board in British Columbia, it was very straightforward. I had one person who I was, having constant correspondence with, and this person was always replying to my email, telling me the next step to go. And then I went in and did my assessments, and they told me what next to do. And then finally, they sent me an invitation to write the NCLEX. So when I got that invitation, and this was the very first time this exam was written in Canada, and it was very funny because I was already preparing for the previous exams, because before, Canada used to have a different exam from the US. It wasn't an NCLEX, it was a Canadian specific exam. So I had actually planned to write that exam. I was preparing for that exam, but my papers were very late, so I missed the deadline to write that exam. And then the next date for the exam was NCLEX, because that was when, the Canadian Canada Regulatory Board decided that, okay, we don't want to use that exam now, we're going to go to the NCLEX. So I was the first group to write that NCLEX. So this was all new territory for even the regulatory board. But it was like, so what I did when I first learned that I have to write the NCLEX, now this time I have been out of school so I graduated in 2010, wrote the council exam in 2011. So I've graduated for like 4 years, right? So there's a difference when you're fresh out of school for the NCLEX and when you're been a nurse for a while. So there's an advantage to both sides, because when you're fresh out of school, I mean, even with Nigerian education, it's kind of different from Canadian education, even though it's the same thing. But graduating a new grad from Nigeria and a new grad from Canada, they might have a lot of theoretical knowledge about nursing, and then they can write the NCLEX. But for you as a veteran nurse, you've been out of school for 2 years, you've been out of school for 5 years. I mean, some of you have been out of school for like 10 years, 13 years, 15 years. So the process is like the expectation is the same, but the advantage you have now, while the new grads have that fresh theoretical knowledge that they can apply, for you, you have more experience. You have more real life experience that you can apply to these questions. Now, the NCLEX questions is all about real life experience. So you do have an advantage here because you've been practicing. So you're able to apply your knowledge, apply your, practical knowledge in this exam. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is to sit down and think about, your capabilities. What is your baseline? So if you're a veteran nurse, the first thing, now what you need for this exam is basically, you need to, especially as a veteran nurse, when I say veteran nurse, like you've graduated for a long time, so you need to, freshen, get a refresher on your topic. So pretend you're going back to school. Yes, that's how I say. Pretend you're going back to school. But now you're not going to school in a Nigerian school, you're going to school in a Canadian school, nursing school. So you need to get textbooks. Okay? So you need to get the anatomy and physiology textbooks. You need to get, you know, books that has to do with pharmacology. You need to get books that has to do with maternal nursing and pediatric. You need to get books that has to do with, like, like mental health. Okay, so now you need to refresh your memory. You need to get back into school. And this is the reason why I say that you need up to 3 months to prepare for this exam. And the first thing now, before you go, buying any NCLEX refresher program, whatnot, you need to get the baseline. And I'm telling you this as a Nigerian person because I know the kind of education we got from Nigeria. It was quality education. It was down to earth, practical, hands-on, compared to Canada. But if you have been out of school for a long time, you need to go back to the basics, right? That's why you need 3 months. So you have to form your own timeline. You have to create your own study plan and say, okay, 3 months or 12 weeks, you can take longer time if you want. And I know some people have kids. Like when I did this, I had nothing. I wasn't even working. So I had all day to study and do everything. So, but if you have kids and you have a husband, you have responsibilities. So you might actually need more time. Now, this might be the best time for you to go get your mother-in-law or your mother to come take care of your children so that you can study. And many of you are also working because when I did mine, I wasn't working. So I was just studying. So if you're working, you need to now, create a study plan, timetable for yourself so that you need to be consistent. So now when you're studying these textbooks, you need to get like a curriculum, like a nursing school curriculum from, year 1 to year 4. But because you've done this before, it will be more like a refresher for you. So before you go buying any refresher program, spending lots of money, first of all, get the textbooks, okay? And I will suggest you get a Canadian textbooks because we had the textbooks we used in Nigeria, which they're similar, but the Canadian textbooks usually, or even the US textbook, you can get either because they're very similar. Canadian textbooks usually more like Canadian context and publicly funded healthcare and whatnot. But we will talk about that later. But don't go using textbooks that you use in nursing school in Nigeria. Get textbooks that are used here in the U.S. or in Canada. So if you go to my website, there are some links to some textbooks that I have there. Now these links are like affiliate links. So if you buy those textbooks, they can get delivered to you. They're from Amazon. Now, if you're having trouble with the shipping, you don't have you're having trouble shipping it to Nigeria, which I don't think should happen because Amazon ships everywhere. You can send it to my address and I will ship it to you and I will get it across to you. So you need to get this textbook. That's the first thing you need to do. Get the textbooks, okay? And these textbooks are used in Canadian, schools. They're like the same process. So when you have these, then you go right back to the basics. This is very, very important. And I'm telling you, you need to go back to the basics. And I'm talking to you right now because I know many of you have been graduated for a long time. You've been practicing. So this is what I did. I went back to the basics. I started studying like I was studying for the council exam. I studied every day, every single day. And then when you're studying, you're practicing the questions from the textbooks, and then you can watch some YouTube videos, or like practice questions from the textbooks, okay? And then you can slowly merge this knowledge from you're getting from these textbooks with the NCLEX exam questions, okay? Now, but the purpose of you going back to the basics is for you to understand, to go back and refresh your memory, for instance, about the human anatomy. Because in NCLEX, you might not get questions. Let's give you an example of the heart. Okay. Now in NCLEX, they're not going to ask you a question like, oh, how many chambers are in the heart? No, that is too direct. You might get a question that is asking you that, okay, a patient came in with congestive heart failure and they're on this medication and the patient complains of this. So now how do you solve this problem, and what's the first thing you're going to do? You need to now apply your knowledge of anatomy. That, okay, this medication that this patient was, what is the effect of this medication on the heart? And for to answer that question, you need to know your anatomy of the heart. You need to know your pharmacology of the, medications that are used for cardiovascular system. You need to know safety issues. So this is why it's important for you to go back to the basics and learn about the heart, learn about the brain, the heart, the nervous system, the orthopedic, the musculoskeletal system, the everything. You need to go back to basics. So if you haven't done that, that would be the first thing that I'll suggest. Please, I've said this before, do not rush to write the NCLEX. Please, please, just take your time. There is no hurry. Take your time. At this time, you're supposed to be going back to the basics and learning this basic thing. You may think you know it all, everything, but it's good to refresh. And it's good to refresh with a textbooks that is from Canada or from the US, because that's the questions that are going to come from these things. Okay. So if you need help ordering these books, or if you need help, shipping them to Nigeria, I can help you do that. Okay, so that you can message me, and so this is the first part of this series, which I'm telling you the first thing you need to do is to get a textbooks, right? And then the second part I'm going to be discussing in the next video. And but yeah, you need to take action now. Buy these books, get them shipped right away, and start studying. Okay, so yes, so next thing I want to talk about is our NCLEX strategy boot camp. So this is gonna come up in July, okay? And I put the date far ahead just because I'm not expecting you to write your NCLEX right away, because I want you to be prepared. And we're gonna choose a date in July. So I'll be sharing the date in probably in the next video or the video after that, because I'm still working on some logistic, because I'm very busy and my schedule is so different. I do a lot of different work, okay? And nursing here is so exciting because you can apply it in different things. There's so many specialties, and there's a way you can maximize your nursing skills to be able to make a lot of money. Okay, so that's what I do. So my schedule is like all over the place because I do so many things, and I've learned how to work smarter in nursing instead of like stressing myself doing, what I mean. So, but I'll be teaching you that down the road when you become a nurse here in Canada, how to maximize your skills, how to maximize your career, so that you're not stuck being in one place forever. Okay, there are so many things I want to talk about with you, but we're going to take it step by step. And now is for you to prepare for your NCLEX. And so that NCLEX strategy bootcamp will be in July, and I'll be sharing the date. I've gotten your emails, and once I have the date, I'm going to be sending out the invitation. I'm considering maybe doing a YouTube live or using another platform where everybody can join. So for those of you who can join live directly, you can join. And Joan is going to be with us, which is the NCLEX strategy specialist, who's going to be showing you, teaching you, just giving you a preview of, how to, do the pass the NCLEX. And this is very important for you at this beginning stage, so that you can know how to prepare. Okay, because the strategy is is the last thing you need after you finish your basic of like learning your anatomy, learning your basic nursing topics and stuff, human body, pharmacology, maternal health, pediatrics, everything. So yes, so yeah, the date is in July. I don't have the exact dates yet. I'm just working out some logistics. Make sure that I'm not working at that time, or I'm not traveling, because I travel a lot, and I work really smart. So I want to make sure that it's perfect timing. And I also want to make sure is when you can join. So I'll tell you the dates ahead of time so you can prepare, and you can invite your friends. You can find someone to watch your kids, so that you can be part of this session, that strategy session, and you can ask questions. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, and so you can get notification when I send out new videos and when I send out information about the bootcamp. And for those of you who have sent your email address for the bootcamp, I have them. I'll be sending you emails once I fix the date in July. It will be in July. Okay, And what else do I have to tell you? Yeah, so that's all. To recap, get your textbooks and start studying. Okay, basic. Pretend you're year one nursing student. That's what you want to be right now, and so that you can. And this is specific for like internationally trained nurses. For nurses who are trained in Canada, is different. I'm giving you this advice based on what I did and how I was able to pass. Okay. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay. Bye bye.